Welcome back, everyone. This is Dave from Cormorant Productions, here to do another rewatch video of Quantum Leap, Season 2, Episode 21, titled Sea Bride, the penultimate episode of Season 2. I honestly can't believe that we are here already. The episode's description reads as follows. Aboard the RMS Queen Mary, Sam must prevent the marriage of his host's ex-wife. The episode was directed by Joe Napolitano. This is his second episode of the series, the last one being Pool Hall's Blues. He's 2 for 2 thus far. Judging from the episodes he's credited with, he has a pretty high batting average across the series. Probably didn't mention this before, but he died on July 23rd, 2016, at the age of 66. The episode was written by Donald P. Belzerio and his wife, Deborah Pratt. It takes place on June 3rd, 1954, and originally aired on May 2nd, 1990. Before going any further, I will tell you a couple of things. 1. This is not a spoiler-free video, so if you haven't yet watched the episode, please go and check it out, and then watch my video. Secondly, if you like this video and want to support the channel, please like, share, and comment, as well as subscribing to my channel. Much better this week. I wouldn't call this a great episode of Quantum Leap, but by God, is it entertaining. Featuring some pretty decent performances from its guest cast, and a great performance by Scott Bakula. I prefer the more dramatic episodes over the comedic ones, as it usually gives me more to talk about. And it's let down by its story that I don't find super great. But it's a fun watch for me. Sam leaps in and finds himself feeling a little off. Perhaps he doesn't have his sea legs yet. After looking around, a woman comes barging in and slaps him hard, asking him what the hell he's doing there. Oh boy! Interesting to note that Sam has started to use his famous catchphrase more often now. And credits. Well, that was certainly succinct. The woman in question is Catherine, played by Beverly Leach. She has appearances on Star Trek Voyager, Diagnosis Murder, and one of Donald P. Belzerio's other series, Jag, as well as 6 Feet Under. Altogether, she has 67 acting credits to her name. When we come back from credits, Catherine has adopted a softer tone, thankfully, because I don't think Sam's cheeks can take any more of that. She thought he was dead, and wants to know, if he wasn't, why didn't Philip, the person he leapt into, ever contact her? Sam obviously has no answer for her because he just got here. I mean, you gotta give the guy a little bit of a break. She supposedly doesn't care anyway because she is going to marry Vincent and there's nothing he can do about it. Now get out of her room! Sam, uncertain, suggests that it's actually his room. Catherine is about to leave when they hear a knock at the door, demanding that Sam answer it. Catherine does the only rational thing and hides in the closet. That's what I would have done. In comes Weather Farrington, played by the great J.G. Hetzler. Instantly recognizable by voice, he played Martok on Star Trek Deep Space Nine from Season 4 on, really becoming a regular in Season 5. He played 4 characters in all in that series, including 2 changelings, and a hallucination character in the great DS9 episode Far Beyond the Stars. He also has appearances in Star Trek Voyager, and a reunion with Scott Bakula on Star Trek Enterprise. All in all, he has 54 acting credits. He's a big part of the reason why this episode is so entertaining for me. After being let in, seconds before he was about to break the door down, resulting in him toppling over, Mr. Farrington tells him that he has one hell of a nerve showing up on the boat the night before Catherine's wedding. Sam thinks it's a coincidence. Really, Sam? That's what you're going with? Apparently, Catherine and Philip were married until he was declared lost at sea by Mr. Farrington himself. Mr. Farrington goes to start to threaten Philip. If he shows his face around any member of his family, he will punch him in the face. And then he proceeds to do so. Seems like you already carried out your threat, Mr. Farrington. You're supposed to wait until he does something you don't like. Apparently, he was on the Harvard boxing team in 1919. Mr. Farrington goes to leave, but in comes a bunch of men with some flowers. Apparently the flowers were rejected, so they're bringing them back. I'm sure this is just a coincidence. Mr. Barrington apparently reads my mind and sarcastically says pretty much the same thing. Mr. Barrington wants to engage in a battle to the death in true Klingon fashion. Okay, maybe I exaggerate a little bit, but he wants to box, mano a mano. Al appears at the 6 minute and 11 second mark to helpfully tell Sam that means man to man. Oh, come on, Al. Even I knew that. And Sam knows this too. He's not that dumb. In fact, he's supposed to be a genius. Al and Mr. Barrington talk over each other. Al tells Sam that it's his mission to stop Catherine from marrying Vincent the Viper. The man holding the flowers complains that the flowers are heavy. Oh, boo-hoo. It's your job. Anyway, Sam is taking his cue from Al, tells him to take the flowers back. Mr. Barrington tells him that he will not allow it, as it is unacceptable for a girl to get flowers from her ex-husband. Al pipes in to suggest that it is a token of friendship and well wishes. Sam repeats this, and this seems to sway Mr. Barrington. I'm rather surprised by that because I don't think it would have swayed me much if I were in his shoes. The flower people leave and they stop their whining, and Sam says to tell Catherine that he is no threat to her marriage. Well, tell her yourself, Sam. She's in the closet. But you've already forgotten about that. Mr. Barrington says that he wants his word that he will not interfere with the wedding. Sam says that Mr. Barrington has his solemn word of honor. Mr. Barrington comes back with, "You have no honor, Dumont. You're not Harvard." And then he takes out his bathlet and cuts Sam in half. Okay, no he doesn't. Wrong series, but I would have greatly appreciated that. J.G. Hetler's growling line delivery here never fails to make me laugh, as it reminds me so much of Martok. Mr. Barrington leaves, and it seems Sam has forgotten all about the love of his life, still hiding in the closet. Al tells him that there's an 88.3% chance he's there to prevent the wedding from taking place. Well, hopefully Ziggy isn't sleeping at the wheel this week, unlike the total whiff job last week in Maybe Baby, where he wasn't even close to right. After a lengthy conversation, Sam remembers Catherine in the closet. About time, Sam, Jesus. And lets her out. She's having trouble breathing. Well, looks like Sam almost made this all moot by killing the bride. As it turns out, it was just the dress. Catherine asks, why is he there? According to Al, originally, Philip was unable to stop the wedding from happening. Sam tells her that he is there to win her back, but Catherine says it's too late and emotionally exits the scene, but not before suggesting that he jump off the ship and swim back to New York. I don't find that suggestion advisable. Al suggests that Philip might have done just that. Sam claims that people don't jump off ships because of unrequited love. What the hell kind of silly statement is that, Sam? They sure as hell do. But Al grants his premise, but then says that maybe they do it for true love. Sam asks, how would he know what true love is? And we have a hint at the history with his first wife, Beth, which Al sidesteps, but will be crucial in next week's finale. Knock, knock. Who's there? Well, it's an 11-year-old girl dressed incognito. Her name is Jennifer, played by Juliet Sorcy. She's only a couple of years older than me. Hasn't had a big career with only 26 acting credits, which includes appearances in The Heat of the Night, Baywatch, and the movie Communion. After a 10-year absence, she has an appearance in the 2022 movie Zero Contact. I love her relationship with Sam here. She's the sister of Catherine and wants Sam and her sister to get married. She's suggesting that she overheard Vinny the Viper talking. If he steps 1 foot near Catherine, Vinny is going to chop him up and feed him to the fishes. You see, Sam has to deal with the Klingons and the mob all in one episode. Where is Captain Archer when you need him? Sam thinks that perhaps this isn't such a great idea, but Jennifer insists that Catherine loves him, despite the fact that she slapped Sam. And Al points out that that is actually an indication that she does in fact love Philip, because without passion, there would be no violence. After some convincing, Sam agrees to talk to Catherine again. We cut to the scene with the Godfather, who doesn't like how all women don't have any respect in the Mr. Barrington family. Speaking of him, It's clear he wants what's best for his daughter. He's having financial hard times, but I do have to question why he thinks getting his daughter married to a mobster is a great idea. The scene is kind of over the top irritating. I didn't say this episode was perfect. Vincent is played by James Harper, who has appearances in the movie Armageddon, The Insider with Al Pacino, television series NYPD Blue, and Jag. 62 total credits for James Harper. Another scene in the cabin with Al and Sam, where they're discussing getting Catherine to agree to swim with him. Jennifer got him a key to the pool, but that will do no good if he can't get her there. And he can't do that without getting 2 moments alone with her. Al suggests using Jenny as an intermediate, but Jen has already said that it should look like it's coming from him. All of it. Not like she's being set up by her little baby sister. Al has an idea, and it includes going to a dance and having the band play the tango, grabbing Catherine to dance to it, in what is perhaps one of the most famous and fun scenes in this episode. He uses the tango to convince Catherine to go to the pool with him that night. Unfortunately, this draws the ire of Vincent, who wants to shoot him. His associate tells him that he can't do that in such a public setting. Meanwhile, Catherine agrees to meet up, in exchange for leaving her alone for good if she does so. Sam continues a solo performance, but runs into the mob at the door. I don't know, Al. This little plan of yours seems to have some holes in it. Kinda like Sam will have if he keeps tangling with the mob. The only reason Sam doesn't end up dead right away is because Vincent is trying to change his image. Imagine that. A mobster with image problems. Vincent, by the way, has the habit of attributing quotes to Shakespeare, such as, "If the eye offends me, pluck it out." Shakespeare didn't write it, but it's certainly pithy nonetheless. Sam continues to mouth off to the mob, convincing Vince it's time to kill him. But the captain ends up in the scene. The captain recognizes Sam and wants to know how Philip managed to get out of the seafaring accident alive, which of course Sam has no idea about, but Al is there to help him out. He manages to get them away from the mob, and when alone, Sam tells the captain that he has a reason to believe that Vincent is going to kill someone. Who? The captain asks. Why, himself, of course. Sam wants to have Vincent's criminal record faxed over. Oh wait, it's way too early for faxing. Telegram? Try again, Sam. How about cabling? The captain agrees to get the records, but if this is some kind of ruse to keep Vincent from marrying his ex-wife, there's gonna be hell to pay. Perhaps not hell as in being shot to death, but hell nonetheless. We cut to Al telling Sam about the trash below decks being dumped into the ocean, showing Al's environmentalist streak. Good for you, Al. And oh, foreshadowing. Jennifer comes in and laments the fact that Sam isn't ready for his meetup with her sister. He's still wearing a tux. Wait, you're telling me you can't go swimming in a tux? Admittedly, I never tried it. Sam can't find his trunks, but Jennifer finds them within 2 seconds. Me thinks Sam wasn't trying that hard. Who's the kid here again? Jennifer suggests that he already be swimming, and not to even look at her. Just tell her his side of the story and leave. And just as quickly as Jennifer entered, she is gone. Lots of energy, that kid. Maybe she should be the one leaping around in time. Cut to Jennifer persuading Catherine to go through with the meeting. Just go, swim a few laps, let him say what he's gonna say, and leave. And by the way, at some point it is revealed that Catherine cannot forgive Philip for what happened. Wait, you're telling me that you can't forgive someone for getting shipwrecked? That's not a good enough reason to disappear? Damn, that's pretty much ice cold. Catherine leaves, and Jennifer looks like she thinks she's won something. Not so fast. There's just one hitch in the plan. There's no water in the pool. After a bit of conversation, they end up kissing, but Catherine gets spooked and starts to run away. Sam calls after her and says she has a second chance of happiness and not to let it sail away. I see what you did there, Sam. It's almost like Shakespeare wrote this. Anywho, the mob has caught up to Sam, has him stripped to his boxers, hanging over the garbage that Al was so concerned about. They torture him and then throw him into the trash to die. I kinda hate this scene. Takes forever to get through, but I'll spare you the suspense. Sam survives this. I know, isn't it crazy? Who would have thunk that the star of the show would survive the episode? Sam escapes just in time for Catherine to change her mind without him. Mr. Farrington ends up sticking up for his daughter, which Vincent declares a big mistake. But Sam runs into the scene smelling less than stellar, as one does when you hang around in trash, and declares he wants Vincent arrested for attempted murder. The captain declares that they will both be confined to quarters, but Vincent doesn't think so. He starts punching people out, And so much for that image change he was trying to achieve. Sam punches Vincent out and is the hero. Catherine has changed her mind, declares she wants to be with Bill, and Al declares that they will have 6 kids. That's a bit of a quickly played ending and kind of abrupt, but whatever. That, ladies and gentlemen, is the episode. An entertaining episode, but still one that falls into the okay camp. Next week we got the season finale of Season 2, MIA, an absolute classic of the series. It couldn't possibly improve in my estimation, but it can get worse. We shall see how I feel about it next week. If you like this video and want to support the channel, there are a number of ways to do so. You can follow me on Twitter at Core Productions. Join my Corman Productions Facebook page. You can buy something from the Corman Productions store on Zazzle. You can buy me a copy, which is a new way to support content creators such as myself. And of course, you can like, share, and comment, as well as subscribing to my channel. This is Dave from Corman Productions, signing off.